Did you know that epilepsy is the least understood of all neurological disorders, and yet it is the fourth most common of all? November is a very important month for people living with epilepsy, since it is the Global Epilepsy Awareness Month. And today we have Valent Adhiambo, the director of Geno'S Epilepsy Center for Empowerment. Valent, tell us your story.
I was not born with epilepsy. My epilepsy condition was diagnosed when I was 1.5 years old. So when I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 1.5 years old, my mother and my family, obviously they were stressed up about it. They started looking for medication everywhere they could, but the condition still persisted. So it forced me to live with epilepsy, learn how I can live with epilepsy. When I was in class 5, somebody proposed to my mother to take me to a certain herbalist. So when I went there, that herbalist gave me some herbs to drink, and then it disappeared for 7 years. When I was in Form 2, it came back. The condition came back. And now it was even worse. It was not so easy for me because even my schoolmates, my teachers were not understanding my condition. At times they used to say that I'm pretending. At times they used to say that I fear exam. Because with epilepsy, one of the main triggers is stress. So when somebody is approaching exams, that person obviously is he or she must be anxious, and that anxiety triggers is an epileptic trigger. So if somebody doesn't understand that, he or she will just feel or think that you fear exam, and that was the situation back then. So I completed my high school, went to college. Still I was getting the attacks, but I went back to hospital, and now I was on drugs. Now I took the drugs until 2019 when I was working somewhere. I was working in a water company. So as I was working there, my job came to an end. The reason being, they were saying that I was not working well, because most of the time I was sick. I was getting so many attacks, epilepsy attacks. So they didn't understand that, and that's how I lost my job. Yes.
When you lost your job, it must have been very difficult. So would you kindly take us through it?
It was so hectic. It was so stressful, I can't say that. But my mother kept on encouraging me, and I think that it was an opening for me. Yeah.
So when was your turning point?
When I lost my job, I met this friend, but I met on Facebook. He told me we can start creating awareness, because it seems like not so many people understand what epilepsy is. So let's create awareness to the community, to everybody about epilepsy, so that they can know what epilepsy really is and how to treat people with epilepsy. So we spoke with him and came together and started a foundation. When we started the foundation back then, it was called Bernard Epilepsy Awareness. But then we worked with him for a short time, and then that is when I started Geno'S Epilepsy Center for Empowerment.
Speaking of creating awareness, there's this myth. Is it a myth or a stereotype that epilepsy is a curse?
Yeah.
So in your family, when you were first diagnosed with the epilepsy, how did they take it?
Being that I come from a Christian background, my mom didn't believe that epilepsy is a curse. My mom went to the hospital. My mom was speaking to different counselors and doctors who told her that, and actually confirmed to her, that epilepsy is not a curse. Epilepsy is just a neurological disorder, that just the way you had mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. But then my mama didn't take it. In fact, my entire family, they didn't take it as if it's a curse. Those are just some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding this condition. Yeah. So my mom didn't take it that way, and so that's why she took me to the hospital instead of looking for a witch doctor, just the way some other people are doing. Yeah.
And what about the community? How was the reception about epilepsy?
The community still has these myths and misconceptions. That one of them is that they think that epilepsy is a curse. Another one, they say that if somebody has epilepsy, either the family or that person did something wrong, and that is why he or she has that condition. Yeah, but then that is not what epilepsy is.
You talk so much about your mom. She must have been a very big hero for you.
Yes, she is. Because my mom is a single parent. Despite all this, epilepsy comes with a lot of myths, misconception, and people talking about you, or there must be something you've done, it's a curse, such kind of stress. And all through that, she managed to take me to the hospital, to be with me all this while until I'm an adult now. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Geno, when you made the decision of starting this center for empowerment, what was your aim towards it?
My main, the first time when I decided to start Geno, my main aim was to create awareness, because we realized that so many people do not know what epilepsy is. They even don't know how to handle people with epilepsy. But another thing that I realized that people do not know, including me by that time when I was losing my job, is that epilepsy is also treated as a disability. I didn't know that, and equally the community did not know that. So when my main aim was to create awareness, teach them about epilepsy and how to handle epilepsy.
And did you get any support starting this organization?
The only support that I got was from my family and my friends. And when you want to register an organization, you must have members of that. For example, Geno is a CBO, a community-based organization. So we must have 40 members. So I looked for the 40 members, friends, relatives, and some of them have epilepsy. Some of them are doctors and nurses. Some of them are just well-wishers. Yeah.
How did you mobilize that to get the 40 people?
I'm a very social person. So I have a lot of friends, a lot of supportive friends, let me say that, supportive friends. So I just called them and explained my intention to them. So they just agreed to be part and parcel of the organization.
Did you feel like it would be a challenge addressing something that you're going through, or you had worked it out and you wanted to let it shine?
No, I didn't feel it's as a challenge, because of what I went through when I lost my job. And through that, I told myself I must shout out epilepsy. I must create awareness to the community.
And how has that gone? I see you're in 1 year now. It's your anniversary. So how has that gone, shouting out for epilepsy?
Wow. So far, I can say we've succeeded, because 1 year is so little, and we have achieved so much. I think we've shouted out epilepsy, though our main goal, we've not reached our goal.
What is your goal?
Our goal, because a CBO is registered and allowed to work within the same county where we've registered, but we have not exhausted Migori County where we are registered.
Let's talk about the treatment and health care for epilepsy. Beginning with yours, how was it?
My mother tried. As a mother, mothers always, or rather parents always wants the best for their children. I was trying to imagine that she was meeting different kind of people with different opinions. Somebody telling her, I know of somebody, a herbalist who can treat that. She rushes there to try there. Somebody tells her, I know of a clinical doctor or a medic who can treat that condition. She rushes there. So that is what she tried, and even other persons with epilepsy, they also do that until they get where their condition can be managed or helped. 2019, before I left my previous job, there's a friend and a colleague who just called me and told me there's a doctor in Kisumu who treats epilepsy. I want to give you his number so that you can go and try. He used to try because he wasn't even sure about it. So when I called the doctor and met him, he prescribed my medication. Up to now, I've not got any epileptic attack. And imagine, that is why I always encourage persons with epilepsy, that epilepsy can be managed. If in my condition started back when I was 1.5 years old. I'm 30 years now. If mine can be controlled and managed, what about just somebody who just whose condition just started the other day? That person can even be healed. Yeah.
So in your organization for empowering them, do you incorporate that treatment and health care?
When we started Geno'S, we used to go to Kindu Bay. There's an epilepsy clinic in Kindu Bay, but from Migori to Kindu Bay is very far, because we even have clients from Nyatike and Kuria. So that place is very far, and then they went for 3 consecutive months and then started complaining to us that why can't we also bring a clinic in Migori? We considered that. I talked to the doctor about my vision and whatever I want to do to the community concerning epilepsy, and then the doctor agreed that we can start an epilepsy clinic within Migori County, and he will be coming once every month. So that is when we started, January this year. That is when we started our monthly epilepsy clinic. It's every month, the last Thursday of every month. The doctor comes from Kisumu and sees the clients who come there.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the challenges. What challenges have you incurred over the period?
The main challenge is lack of funds, enough funds. The anti-epileptic drugs are very expensive. You can go to the public hospitals, you can see a doctor there. The doctor will prescribe the drugs, but if you go to the pharmacy, you won't find the drugs there. When you go to the outside pharmacy to buy the drugs, they are very expensive. So that is one of the major challenges that we've encountered. Another one is these myths and misconceptions. They are still there. Even in schools, we find that so many teachers do not even understand what epilepsy is. So it forces us to create awareness in schools so that both teachers and students and pupils can understand what epilepsy is, how to treat somebody with epilepsy. Another challenge that we've got is apart from the finances and the myths and misconceptions, when we order for the drugs, sometimes they come very late, because getting them is not so easy. Then another one on the sides of my clients, since the drugs are very expensive, some of the clients come to the clinic even once. Then the next time they will not come. Reason? They can't even afford the drugs. The drugs are too expensive for them. When they stop to continue with the medication, their condition just goes on and it worsens. Yeah, that is another challenge.
Valent through Geno has been very impactful to very many lives, and they are full of praise.
I would like to thank God and the doctors for their help. I encourage those with victims of epilepsy to come out and join Geno group, and for real they will be assisted.
Gini no chanda mang'eny, no chanda.
Epilepsy troubled me a lot. During one of the seizure attacks, I fell on boiling water and I got burned. I suffered a lot. When I started the medication, I stopped wetting the bed. Now I feel the seizures and they disappear.
We all know epilepsy is here. It's here to live with us. Either you are directly or indirectly affected. Please speak about Geno quite often. Let people know about Geno everywhere they go so that they get help. But now, I would say that Val has made it more accommodating. We can easily speak about it. And you look at our social media platform, you'll realize that the more you speak about it, the more people come out. And the more people come out, the more we find a solution. From the little knowledge I have, I'm not an expert, I know it might not be curable, especially at an advanced stage, but it is manageable. Manageable means information. Manageable means knowledge. Manageable means speaking out. Let's speak out. Let's help Geno. Geno Epilepsy Center is here to champion for people who are living with epilepsy. Let's further it. Let's support them. Let's give them our shoulder.
Daniel Ogutu is the board chair for Geno's Epilepsy Center for Empowerment. So, a lot of people have stigma about epilepsy. What inspired you to support this?
Thank you. When I was growing up, an uncle of mine had epilepsy. And me, together with my first cousin, who was the son to my uncle, were given the responsibility of taking care of this uncle of mine who was sick, to stay with him so that he could not even get injured either in fire or wherever there was a standing water. This made me to feel that this is part of me, and when I learned about Geno, I got interested and I had to be part of them. Yeah, I have a vision for Geno, and like right now it is a CBO. We want to transform it to an NGO so that it could expand from Migori County, even up to Homa Bay County, or even up to other counties. But currently, because it is a CBO, it can only operate in Migori.
As Geno, we had a vision, and our vision was to provide hope and to impact the right information and to create the right link for both the caregivers and also the clients to fully understand what epilepsy is and to combat the challenges that comes with epilepsy. And our objectives were to create awareness to people living with epilepsy, their guardians, and the community at large. Because just like you have realized, most of the clients, the way they were saying, they were viewing it as, if you listened carefully, they were really talking about, they were afraid of it, they were hiding themselves, they didn't want to associate with people in the community. So that's what are some of the things that we wanted to alleviate as Geno.
And who are your partners?
We have different partners. One is the National Council for Persons with Disability, Migori County. We also have Kefiado. Kefiado is the Kenya Female Advisory Organization. It deals with the girl child, but mostly they've embraced, now that they've embraced persons with disability, and that's how we became partners. Another one is Rachel K Foundation, Nairobi. Rachel K Foundation deals with persons with cerebral palsy. because palsy is connected with epilepsy. If you have palsy, if a child has palsy, they will also convulse. So there's 30% of persons with epilepsy have palsy, and vice versa.
In your journey, have you encountered any stigmatization or discrimination?
Yes, severally. Personally, I've encountered that in my places of work. That is one. Then even socially, people fear people with epilepsy. Even, for example, in my condition, in my situation, a man can just be interested in me. The first thing I will tell him is, I'm epileptic. Most of them, in fact 99% of them, will just start looking for excuses. People fear people with epilepsy. No, not only me. Even in schools, we encounter such kind of challenges. Students with epilepsy will always tell us that mtu anatuambia ati ataki kukaa karibu na mimi, nitampatia kifafa, such kind of things. And that is a very big discrimination.
So in your organization, the members in your organization who are epileptic, how do you inform them or teach them to navigate through stigma and discrimination?
Okay. What we do, every month when we have our monthly epilepsy clinic, the first thing that we do is we always have a session where we teach our clients and their caregivers, the parents or maybe the relatives. We teach them about epilepsy. We teach them about how to take care of an epileptic person. For example, first aid. We teach them so many things, and we encourage them. For example, I always like using my own example. The first thing I'll tell people is, I also live with epilepsy. And when I tell somebody like that, many people won't believe me. But when I tell, especially my clients, when I tell them, I also live with epilepsy, I take the drugs, I eat well, I avoid the stress, and then I just continue living like any other person. That one always encourages them so much. Yeah. So we always have our first session of talking about epilepsy, teaching the class about epilepsy before seeing the doctor.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in epilepsy is common with seizures, right? So if I am a person who has no idea what epilepsy is, and I am near someone who has a seizure, so what is the first thing I should do?
Okay, the first thing you should do is stay calm. Don't panic. Because the moment you panic, and I'm convulsing down here, when I wake up and you see your face that you are panicking, I'll have that stress. And stress is the first trigger and the main trigger of epileptic attack. So don't panic. Then after that, you loosen the clothes of that person and remove him or you remove her from out of danger. Then you just lay the person down and on the left side, and then you leave that person there to rest. The main mistake that people always do is putting things on them in the mouth so that that person cannot bite their tongue. Don't do that. Don't put anything in the mouth, because the moment you do that, the oxygen there will not be a free circulation of oxygen. So just leave that person there, let him or her converse, because most of the seizures always take maximum 5 minutes, and then the person will be back to normal.
And how do I know this is a medical emergency? It's not just a normal seizure.
Maybe for the first time, if you see that person conversing for the first time, just leave him there, give him the first aid, and then you take him to the hospital. If you are suspecting it's not it's a strange thing, because this is, it's not so easy for a layman to detect that this is epilepsy or not. Yeah, just let the person converse there, then you take him or her to the doctor.
So the right thing to do is to give first aid and
Yes.
then go to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. So for the Geno Empowerment Center, where do you aim to take this? It's 1 year now. Next year and the other. Where do you aim to take this?
Wow. Just as the name suggests, Geno Epilepsy Center for Empowerment. We not only focus on the health part of it, but we also focus on empowering our clients, empowering ourselves. I'm also a client there at Geno. Empowering ourselves. How do we empower ourselves? For example, most of the people with epilepsy do not go to school. They are school dropouts. Reason, the myths and misconceptions in schools, so they don't feel comfortable being in school. The fellow students and the teachers do not understand and treat them well. So most of them drop out of school. So at Geno, we have a project called Talanta Yangu Project. Talanta Yangu Project, Talanta Yangu is an English and Swahili word meaning my talent. And most of the people with disability, any kind of disability, not only epilepsy, have different talents. These people have talents. They can make things using their hands. So at Geno, we empower them by teaching them to make things, different things using their hands. We have artwork. Somebody teach them how to draw. We have knitting. We have so many different things. So we teach them and encourage them to be dependent, not just sitting and wanahuzunika eti mimi niko na kifafa, oh, I'm epileptic, I can't go to school, I can't do anything. When somebody thinks about that, when somebody thinks about it that way, he will get a lot of stress. And the moment he or she gets stress, attacks. So this is also a way of preventing so much epileptic attacks. So when somebody is busy doing something, maybe knitting, you don't think so much. Yeah.
You said as the name suggests. What do you mean? Geno, as the name suggests. What is the meaning of Geno?
Geno is a Luo word meaning hope. When we gave the organization that name, because we realized that persons with epilepsy in the community have lost hope. They have lost hope. So Geno, we wanted to give them hope, bringing back the hope to the people living with epilepsy in the society. Yes.
So when we talk about bringing back the hope for the community, how do you plan to help the community accommodate people with epilepsy?
What we do is we work in different institutions. We go to churches, we go to schools, we go to different even social gathering. For me, I will shout out epilepsy anywhere. So long as I've been given that chance, I will talk about epilepsy openly. And so by doing that, the community will be enlightened about the condition. They'll view me in just like a normal human being, like them. Yeah.
Could you tell us, give an experience of how the awareness journey has been before Geno?
I've realized that so many people do not know about epilepsy. But at the moment, people know about epilepsy. So many people are getting to learn, are getting to embrace people with epilepsy, like me. I always like saying like me, because I want them to know and to see I have epilepsy. I've been living with it for almost 29 years, and I'm just like a normal human being. Like when we are walking, for example, even if I stand here with you, nobody will know that I have epilepsy or you have epilepsy. Nobody, unless I tell them. And I like telling them. Yeah.
So from all that, how can you tell us, or what can you tell us as a community to do when it comes to epilepsy?
First, epilepsy is not witchcraft. Epilepsy is just a brain condition that can be managed. Yeah, we also take the drugs daily, and we survive. Yeah, so epilepsy is not a matter of death. It's not a death sentence. No, it is just a manageable condition.
You have had it. Epilepsy is not a curse, and neither is it a death sentence. It is manageable and treatable. Valent through Geno has been very impactful to very many lives, and they are full of praise. That is Shout Out Epilepsy. My name is Grenis Nyangweso. Bye.